The standard image of a narcissist is a loud, arrogant braggart obsessed with their own reflection and achievements. Clinical data shows 10 to 15% of the population exhibits narcissistic traits. These individuals organize into 4 distinct behavioral quadrants. Relying on that single arrogant stereotype creates a dangerous blind spot. You lose sight of 75% of the actual threats. These personalities select their targets with extreme precision, focusing on individuals with high levels of tolerance and empathy. Empathy is a virtue, but without the ability to decode these behavioral profiles, that open-heartedness becomes a homing beacon for emotional manipulation. The extroverted side of the matrix contains the overtly dominant profiles, beginning with the classic Grandiose Narcissist. Their physical footprint is a primary indicator. They use expansive, territory-invading gestures and flash tightly controlled social smiles that rarely reach the eyes. They draw you in with a vibrant, magnetic confidence. Eventually, you realize the relationship only exists to provide them with a captive audience to applaud their every move. This dominance can escalate into the malignant profile, characterized by psychological friction and calculated cruelty. This wireframe isolates the asymmetrical muscle contractions common in the malignant type, unilateral contempt. Notice how action units 14 and 12 pull upward on only one side of the face. They weaponize guilt by aggressively inverting reality. They will convince you that your reactions are the problem, systematically fracturing your self-esteem until you take the blame for their behavior. These extroverted types dominate through overwhelming force, either blinding you with charisma or punishing you into submission. The second half of the matrix is often more dangerous because the grandiosity is hidden behind a cloak of vulnerability and virtue. The vulnerable narcissist constructs a misunderstood victim complex, frequently blaming their parents, the government, or society for their lack of success. They maintain a closed, lethargic physical posture. However, during a disagreement, that timidity briefly breaks to reveal subtle micro-expressions of intense superiority. Their trap is pity. They project a helplessness that triggers your desire to save them, creating a loop of manufactured misery that drains your energy. The communal narcissist is often the hardest to identify, masking their ego with performative altruism and public charity. They demand absolute validation for their social causes. They use their goodness as a shield, making critics feel morally inferior for questioning someone who appears so selfless. The key identifier is behavioral incongruence. This chart visualizes the mismatch between high public altruism and intense private volatility, like a person preaching peace online while ruthlessly berating their family in private. These covert types bypass our defenses by wearing the masks of victims and saviors, weaponizing our own moral compass against us. Every one of these traps relies on a single factor, a host who misinterprets toxic behavior. These predators scan for overly tolerant people carrying a savior complex. The fatal flaw of the savior complex is the belief that a toxic personality can be cured through enough love and patience. True defense requires looking for non-verbal incongruences. You have to identify the specific trap before you become emotionally invested. You cannot heal a narcissist. You must recognize the trap, retire your savior complex, and walk away entirely.